for today's class, we're going to do a restorative headache sequence. And so this one, you're going to need 2 blocks. You're going to need your bolster and then just a blanket to kind of lift you as you sit. So I want to just start in our simple pose, or that easy pose or simple cross-legged. And we're just going to take a moment here just to focus on our breathing. Really nice inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Focusing on that exhale, getting all that stale air out of the lungs. Taking a moment to get grounded. Drawing that awareness inward. And then starting to relax in the shoulders, relaxing in the spine. And then from here, I want to start in our neck. So we're just going to bring our ear to our shoulder, kind of pushing those shoulders down away from the ear. And this one, I want to take that opposite hand here and just gently grab on that ear and slowly pull out that tension. Taking a moment to really focus on the exhale, relaxing the shoulders. And then we'll go ahead and release on that exhale, just gently tucking that chin all the way to the other side. And we're going to hold, taking that opposite hand on that ear and just gently pulling out the tension. Relaxing the shoulders, focusing on your breath. And then we'll go ahead and release. This next one, we're just going to open up those arms as wide as you can, and we're just going to wrap them around us here and kind of grabbing onto your shoulder blades if you can. And then take a moment. This is where we're really going to draw those shoulders to the ear and kind of just hunching in the spine here. So I'm just going to turn sideways, right? So you can get that really big stretch here right between the shoulder blades. And we're just going to hold this for just a moment. So continuing with that breath. And then from here, just pay attention to which arm is on top because we're going to switch. So we're going to open all the way back up. And then we're going to bring that opposite arm on top and then just stretch as deep as you can, kind of grabbing onto those shoulder blades. And then just take a moment to lift those shoulders and then just kind of tuck here just to really get that stretch between the shoulder blades. And then we'll go ahead and open back up, extending those arms and then just releasing down. From here, I want to just go forward. So engaging that core, we're just going to go as far forward that's comfortable. So slowly just walk your way out. Taking a moment to relax in the shoulders and the neck, releasing in the spine. And just releasing whatever tension you may be holding on to with that exhale. And then we're just going to slowly work our way back up. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to take that back leg. We're going to move it to the front. Just take a moment to readjust. And then we're just going to go forward again here, as far forward that's comfortable. Relaxing the shoulders, the neck, the jaw. Really using that exhale to release the tension. And then we're just going to slowly come back up, taking your time. This next one is where we're going to use those blocks. I want to go into our supported fish pose. So coming around onto those knees, we can push that blanket off to the side. And this one, I want to place that block on the short end, and it's going to be wide. So this is going to go right across the shoulders, right across that bra line. And then that top block, we're going to put it on the tall end, and I'm just going to have it facing that other block, and this is where our head's going to go down. So you want a big enough gap here where you can kind of align as needed. And then we're just going to come around nice and slow, bending those knees, tucking that chin, engaging that core, and we're just going to come down here, trying to get that short block right on that bra line. So your shoulder blade should be right at the top of that block. And I'm just going to move my top one in just to support that head here. And then when you're feeling secure in those blocks, we're going to release those arms down, releasing those legs down. This one I want to hold for 4 minutes. So I'm just going to set that timer real quick. So just taking a moment here to soften in the forehead, softening in the eyes, the cheeks, the tongue, the jaw. Really releasing in that neck here, releasing in the shoulders, just allowing them to gently fold over that block. Relaxing the arms all the way to the fingertips. And then taking a moment here to relax in the heart, to soften in the spine. Releasing one vertebrae at a time. Relaxing those hips, and then if you need to, kind of open up those legs as wide as you'd like to release those feet. And then here we're just going to take a moment to focus on your breath or focus on your music, trying to keep your thoughts from wandering. And then we're just at that halfway mark. So just take a moment here to really release, right? Especially in the forehead here, those tension headaches start to develop when we're too tense. So relaxing the eyes, relaxing the shoulders. Sometimes that tension just slowly starts to creep back into the spine. So just take a moment to check in, continuing to focus on your breath, continuing to keep your thoughts from wandering. Gently releasing, letting go. And then from here, we're just going to slowly bring that awareness back, starting to wiggle those fingers, wiggle those toes. We're going to go ahead and just bend one knee here, just enough to gently come up. From here, we're going to come back onto those knees. We can move those blocks out of the way. For our next one, I want to go into a supported shoulder stand. So I'm going to grab that bolster. I'm going to bring it towards the center of my mat here, and we want it nice and long to go all the way across. And then this one, I want you to think of that strong tuck in the chin as we start to work our way down. So go ahead. We're just going to sit on the center of this. We're going to tuck our chin, engage that core. We're just going to come down nice and slow and controlled, and be careful here because it's kind of a far drop. And then when you're ready, I have to lift mine up just enough, making sure those hips are right in the center of that bolster. And then this one, I want you to lift your head, tuck that chin nice and strong. This one, what I want to do is we're just going to stack those legs here. So just take a moment to get those ankles right on top of those knees on top of those hips. And this is where seeing myself is so helpful because this is so hard to get nice and aligned. So do the best you can. And we're just going to take a moment here to release with that strong tuck. So you should feel just a gentle stretching in that spine, really relaxing the shoulders. We're just going to hold this for just a few breaths, not very long. Just enough to kind of feel that transition in energy. And then from here, I want to work into a supported plow pose. So continuing with that strong tuck in the chin, we're just going to drop those feet forward. This is where you can kind of grab onto the back of the legs and just gently pull, or even grabbing to those toes. Seeing if that allows you to go a little bit further, a little bit deeper. This one's really nice when you grab onto those toes because it allows a little extra release in those shoulders. And just take a moment here to breathe, to focus on your breath. And then from here, we're going to gently come back up. This next one, we're just going to cross those legs. So I'm just going to cross gently right at the shins, and I'm just going to grab onto my feet, and I'm going to take a moment again to release kind of drawing those knees forward, lifting that head up again if you need to feel that nice big tuck in the chin here. And you should feel that lengthening in the neck and the shoulders. Kind of a release here. And then from here, we're going to extend those legs back up. Again, getting as stacked as you can, just taking a moment to feel that transition in energy. It's not very often where gravity is pulling the legs, right? The flow of that energy down. And so take a moment just to feel that transition in energy. And then from here, we're going to cross on the other side, bending those knees, grabbing those feet, and just kind of drawing those knees forward here. If you need to lift up that neck again to make sure you have that nice long spine, that release in the neck, that release in the shoulders. And then we'll go ahead and release, bringing those legs back up. I want to do this supported plow pose one more time. So this is where we're just going to drop those legs forward, kind of even grabbing below the knee if you need to, or up above, or if you can reach those toes and just gently release those shoulders. So strong grip on those toes, relaxing the arms. Just again, taking that moment to feel that nice long spine, that gentle stretch right between the shoulder blades. And then we'll go ahead and come back up with those legs. This is our last one. Just take a moment here. Nice and stacked. Releasing the lower back. And then we're going to bring those legs down, planting those feet nice and strong. And then I'm gently just going to use my elbows to lift those hips up and take that bolster out from underneath us. And then coming down, and we're just going to come onto our side here for just a moment. So take a moment just to release, to relax. Focusing on your breath. And then from here, we're just going to gently come back up onto those knees, just moving slow, taking your time. This next one, I want to go into our supported child's pose, but I want to use our blocks here to really feel that stretch in the neck and the shoulders. So with those blocks, I'm just going to take them. I want to put them on the medium end. We're going to come into that child's pose. So I'm going to get a little bit wider in those knees. We're going to bring those big toes together. And then I want those blocks shoulder distance apart here. And I'm going to bring them in just enough to get my elbows onto each of those blocks. And then I'm going to gently release my head down. So I need to go just a little bit wider here. So bringing those hands into prayer and then just slowly softening here. Relaxing in the spine, relaxing in the shoulders. And as you sit into this one, you're just going to gently feel that head drop. This one we're not going to hold for very long either, so maybe a minute at the most. So just take a moment to focus on your breath. And then from here, if you want that little extra, you can extend those arms just a little bit deeper, bringing the palms just behind the head here. This kind of gets into those triceps as well. And then we'll just slowly work our way back up here, coming back onto those knees. This next one is on extended puppy pose. So this is where I'm going to take those blocks and I'm going to put them kind of side by side here. This one we want to be far enough away where we can still get this nice 90 in our legs. So as we come down, I'm just going to start with my forearm, kind of using that core. And then just gently starting to release that head as well. So this one, if it's too much for those shoulders, I want you to take a little bend in those elbows and then come down. So you can adjust however you need to. I'm going to take a couple steps back just so I can really drop that heart here. And then we're just going to, again, slowly come back up. I'm going to walk those knees towards those blocks. And then coming all the way up, we can put those blocks off to the side. This next one, I want to go into our prone twist pose. So we're going to grab that bolster. This time I want my bolster nice and long. We're going to take it towards the top of our mat. On this one, we're going to come onto that side here. And this one, I'm going to kind of make sure as you come down that bolster is right in the center here. So you want a little bit of overhang on your knee and a little bit of overhang in the back. And then I want to just stack our knees for this one. So this is where that ankle should fit right into the arch of the foot. And then before we come down, I want you to really lengthen in the spine, stretching it as long as you can. And we're just going to gently fold over our bolster here. And then as you start to adjust, you can kind of open up those legs and extend them out wherever they're most comfortable. This one I want to hold for 3 minutes. And at that 3-minute mark, we're just going to switch to the other side here. So just take a moment to relax in the forehead and the eyes, the cheeks, the tongue, the jaw, releasing those shoulders down, gently softening in the spine, just feeling that real gentle twist here, and just taking a moment to release, to focus on your breath or focus on the music. And then from here, we're just going to slowly bring that awareness back. So wiggling those fingers, wiggling those toes, and we're just going to gently come back up here. And then for you guys, you can just go right onto the other side. I'm actually just going to move my bolster to the other side here. And we're going to come onto that other hip. And then this one, again, just make sure you're nice and snug here. So that bolster's right next to you. You want a little bit of extra on your knee and a little bit of extra behind you. So that bolster is right in the center. And then we're just going to bend those knees here where that ankle should just fit right into the arch of the foot. And then before we come down, just remember that nice big lengthening in the spine. Just coming as far over this as you can. And then taking a moment here to just release, and especially in the neck and the shoulders, make sure that tension doesn't creep back because you're here. So starting with that forehead, we're just going to relax in the forehead, softening in the eyes, the cheeks, the tongue, the jaw, softening in those shoulders, releasing in the spine, just feeling that nice gentle twist as you're coming down. And then if you need to, you can kind of open up those legs or move those legs wherever you'd like here, just so you can really release all the way down to the toes. And then we're going to hold this again for just about 3 minutes. And then from here, just gently bringing that awareness back, wiggling those fingers, wiggling those toes, and we're just going to slowly come back up. Just taking your time. This next one is a really easy transition. So what I want to do is I'm just going to grab that bolster. And we're just going to place it on its side. And then from here, we're going to bring our feet together kind of in a cobbler's pose, but enough to where you can kind of hold that bolster with your feet. And then we're just going to bring that bolster forward. We're just going to go into a forward bend. So here I'm scooching those hips behind me. So I want you to keep that nice extension in the spine, that little lumbar curve back here. So kind of scooch away if you need to. This is kind of tricky because then it gets a little hard in those legs. So get to that spot where you're comfortable. And then we're just going to gently release our forehead. So think of that brow chakra is just going to go right at the edge of that bolster. And then I'm just going to wrap my hands together here and then just release those shoulders. This one we're going to hold again for just 3 minutes. So I want you just to take a moment to especially notice the tension. So many times we're holding so much tension in our forehead, in our scalp, in our eyes. So feel as you release that tension, softening the eyes, softening in the cheeks, the tongue, the jaw. Taking a moment here to really that strong grip on your bolster, kind of interlinking those fingers. And then relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the spine. And then just taking a moment again to breathe, to be quiet in the body, to be quiet in the mind. And then from here, we're just going to slowly bring that awareness back, kind of wiggling those fingers, wiggling those toes, and we're just going to gently come back up here. So for this next one, we're going to work into a heart opener. So this is kind of a big one for the spine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that bolster, we're going to place it kind of back towards the middle of your mat. And then this one again, you want it just right across that mat. And then I want to take this blanket. So our blanket you may use, you may not use, but I want it there just in case. So I'm going to take it and I'm just going to fold it as if we're going to sit on it. So it's just this little fold in my blanket. And I'm just going to place this towards the top. So if I do need it, I can just grab it and put it underneath my head. So this one, the way we're going to start is I'm just going to start with those bent knees. I'm going to get nice and flush against my bolster. And then we're just going to gently recline over, kind of lifting yourself up and then bringing your head down. So this one too is just kind of right in the center. So it's just going to be kind of at the cowlicks. You want a little bit of a tilt in the head here. And then when you're ready, you're going to extend those legs. So this one can get kind of a lot. So if it's too much, then I want you to kind of grab that blanket and put that right underneath you for a little bit of extra support here. And then release. If this is still a little sore in that lower back, you can even take one of those blocks. And I'm just going to have my block next to me. And I'm going to lift back up and I'm just going to place it right underneath my buns here. So that's going to help give me just a little additional support. And then I don't need that blanket. So there's a couple options here I want you guys to kind of work into. This one we're going to try to hold for about 4 minutes. So if it gets uncomfortable at any time here, I want you to go ahead and either grab that blanket, use that blanket, or you can just roll out onto your side and just stay in that recovery pose. So just take a moment here, as much as you can, to try to release in the forehead, to soften in the eyes, the cheeks, the tongue, the jaw, softening in those shoulders. For this one, I have a tendency to kind of draw those shoulders up. So try to relax those shoulders, really soften the heart, relaxing those arms all the way to the fingertips. And then take a moment here to start to soften the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Releasing in the belly. And then releasing in those hips. So this one too, you may have to open up those legs just a little bit wider to fully soften all the way down to the toes. And then just take a moment here to focus on your breath or focus on your music, trying to keep your thoughts from wandering. So we're just at that halfway mark. So just take a moment to check in. I can even tell my shoulders were drifting up towards my ears. So just try to take a moment to relax, allowing all that tension just to leave the body. And again, if you're in any pain in the neck and the shoulders, I want you just to gently roll out and come into that recovery pose. But if you're okay, I want you to hang out with me a little bit longer, trying to keep that spine nice and long and fluid. Relaxing all the way from those fingers to the toes. And then from here, bringing that awareness back, we're just going to wiggle those fingers, wiggle those toes. This one, I'm just going to gently bend those knees, and then I'm going to roll off the edge of my bolster here. And I'm just going to come into that recovery pose. So just kind of slide that bolster back, releasing down. Just taking a moment here to get comfortable. Since that blanket's there, we can even take that blanket and use it for a little bit of a pillow here. So this one, I want you just to take a moment to feel that transition in the shoulders and the neck and the spine, feeling how that energy is flowing just a little bit differently in the body. And then from here, we can just slowly work our way back up. Coming back onto those knees. This next one is our reclined cobbler's pose. So this one, what I want to do is I want to start with my bolster. This one, I think what I want to do too is we're going to keep that bolster nice and flat. I'm going to take my blanket. So we want it lengthwise, and it's going to be towards the top end of your mat. And then I'm going to unfold our blanket just once. So it's that square. And this is where I'm going to roll it just a couple times for that little cervical roll. And then I'm going to place that just on top of that bolster, kind of towards the middle here. And then we're going to come around. This is where I want you to have those blocks handy. So you're going to have one block on each side, and we're just going to place those blocks under each knee. So this one, we're going to get nice and flush next to that bolster. So kind of draw that in. We're going to bring our feet into that cobbler's pose. And then depending on those knees, you can place a block under each knee to really help you relax in those legs. And then this one, again, we're just going to come down nice and slow and controlled. And we're just going to come right over that bolster, onto that blanket, onto that little lift here. And then take a moment to release. This one I want to hold. We're going to do, let's do this one for 4 minutes. So just take a moment to relax in the forehead and the eyes, the cheeks, the tongue, the jaw. Taking a moment to relax the neck. Releasing the shoulders, allowing them just to kind of gently fold over that bolster. Relaxing the arms all the way to the fingertips. Taking a moment here to just feel that lift in the spine. So as you recognize that lift, you should really release the tension in the shoulders and the neck. So many times that's where those tension headaches happen. So as you feel that lift, you can slowly release the spine, kind of gently folding over that bolster, releasing it all the way down to the tailbone. Relaxing in the belly. And then you can adjust in those hips here too. You may want to scooch away from that bolster just a little bit to fully release those legs, and then just feeling that gentle pressure between the toes. And just taking a moment again to release, to relax, to quiet the mind. And we're just at that halfway mark. So just take a moment to especially notice whatever tension you may be holding on to in the forehead, in the eyes. Relaxing the neck, relaxing the shoulders. Continuing to focus on that breathing, really focusing on the exhale, allowing all that tension to flow out with the breath. And then we're going to gently bring our awareness back, wiggling those fingers, wiggling those toes. This next one, well, what I want to do first is we're just going to extend those legs for just a moment here. So this I want to hold for just about, let's do 3 minutes here. So we're just going to relax with those legs extended, continuing to release in those facial muscles, continuing to relax in the shoulders and the arms. This one, you're just going to feel a little bit of that transition of energy rolling down the legs. So again, if you need to, open up those legs as wide as you'd like to fully relax all the way down to the toes. Continuing to be quiet in the body, focusing on your breath or focusing on your music. And then we're gently going to bring our awareness back, just wiggling those fingers, wiggling those toes. From here, we're going to come up again, kind of onto our side here, coming all the way back. This next one, all we need is our bolster and our blanket. So I'm going to come up onto my knees. This one, I'm going to keep that blanket right where it's at. I'm just going to take my bolster out. And this one, we're going to go into a side lying savasana. And we're only going to do one side. So I want you to pick whatever side is most comfortable for you. And then from here, we're just going to take that bolster. We're going to keep it nice and long. And I'm just going to place it right between those legs here. And then we're just going to take a moment to release down. So grabbing that blanket for that little pillow here, kind of bringing that in however you'd like. And then this one, we're just going to hold until the end here. So we have just about 3 minutes. So taking a moment to kind of release again in the forehead, in the eyes, the cheeks, the tongue, the jaw. Releasing in those shoulders. Softening in the spine. This one's really easy to release those hips because hopefully that bolster is about hip distance apart, and then just work on relaxing those feet all the way down to the toes, right? Releasing all that tension out of the legs. And we're just going to take a moment again to be quiet in the body, to release whatever tension you may be holding on to. Really focusing on the eyes, mine even closed. I'm holding tension in them, so relaxing those eyes, the jaw, right? So many of us clench our jaw, so releasing the jaw muscles, releasing the shoulders, the neck. And just using that breath, that nice exhale to release all that tension, allowing it to flow out with the breath. And then from here, bringing that awareness back, gently wiggling those fingers, wiggling those toes. I want you just to take a moment to move however is most comfortable for you. Just taking a moment to honor the body. And then when you're ready, if you haven't done so, go ahead and roll on to your other side, and we're just going to gently, slowly work our way back up to that seated position. Oh, good job, you guys. Namaste.